My name is Edward Morgan, and at 68 I thought I had life figured out. I'm a retired electrician from Columbus, Ohio, who spent 37 years keeping the lights on in half the city. After my wife Margaret passed 3 years ago from cancer, I found peace in the simple rhythm of maintaining our 3-bedroom house on Maple Street, the same house where I raised my daughter Lydia. Lydia is 31 now, works as a marketing coordinator downtown, and has been dating Brendan Stone for 2 years. Brendan's a real estate agent who drives a leased BMW and talks about investment opportunities every time he visits. I never liked the way he looked at my house, not admiring it, but appraising it. If you enjoy stories of cold-blooded revenge and gripping plot twists, like this video and subscribe to the channel now. There are brand new, unreleased stories here every day, each one more intense than the last. The betrayal came on my 68th birthday, March 15, 2025. Lydia arrived with Brendan, carrying what looked like a wrapped gift. I was excited. Birthdays had been lonely since Margaret died, and having my daughter there felt like a blessing. "Happy birthday, Dad," Lydia said, handing me the package with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I unwrapped it carefully, expecting maybe a book or a nice picture frame. Instead, I found a glossy brochure for Golden Years Assisted Living, a nursing home 40 minutes outside the city. "What's this?" I asked, genuinely confused. Brendan stepped forward, putting his arm around Lydia's waist. "Mr. Morgan, we've been talking, and we think it's time you considered your options. This place has amazing amenities, 24-hour care, activities, meals prepared for you." I looked at my daughter. "Lydia, what is he talking about?" She avoided my eyes. "Dad, you're getting older. This house is too big for you. You shouldn't be living alone." "I'm 68, not 98. I can still change a light bulb and cook my own meals." "But what if something happens?" Brendan interjected. "What if you fall down the stairs? What if you have a heart attack and no one finds you for days?" That's when I understood. This wasn't about my safety or comfort. This was about my house. The house I'd paid off 15 years ago. The house worth $300,000 in today's Columbus market. "We're getting married in June," Lydia announced suddenly. "We need somewhere to live, and this house has so much space going to waste." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "You want me to move to a nursing home so you can have my house?" "It's not like that, Dad," Lydia said, but her voice lacked conviction. "Then what is it like?" Brendan's mask slipped slightly. "Look, Mr. Morgan, we're not asking you to give us anything. We'll pay the mortgage if there was one, take care of the property taxes, maintenance. You'd be free from all that responsibility. There is no mortgage. I own this house free and clear." The silence that followed told me everything I needed to know. I set the brochure on my coffee table and looked at my daughter. Really looked at her. "Get out." "Dad, please, get out of my house, both of you." They left, but Brendan turned back at the door. "You're being stubborn, old man. This could have been easy." I watched them drive away in his BMW, and I made a decision. If they wanted to play games, I'd play, but I'd play to win. The next morning, I did what any rational man would do. I called my lawyer. Jim Patterson had handled Margaret's estate and knew my situation well. His office is downtown, 3 blocks from where Lydia works. "Edward, good to hear from you," Jim said when I walked into his office. "What can I do for you?" I showed him the nursing home brochure and explained the situation. Jim's expression grew serious as I talked. "They can't force you out of your own home," he said firmly. "But Edward, I have to ask, are you experiencing any health issues, memory problems, anything they could use against you?" "I'm sharp as a tack, Jim. I still do my own electrical work, balance my checkbook to the penny, and beat my neighbor at chess twice a week." "Good. Let me ask you something else. Do you have any documentation of this conversation? Any texts or emails about the house?" I shook my head. "They were smart enough to do it face to face." "Then we wait. If they're planning something, they'll get greedy and make mistakes. In the meantime, I want you to start documenting everything. Every conversation, every visit, every phone call." That afternoon, Lydia called. I let it go to voicemail. "Dad, it's me. Look, I'm sorry about yesterday. Maybe we came on too strong. Can we talk?" Brendan has some ideas that might work better for everyone. I saved the message and called Jim back. They're already reaching out, I told him. Don't respond yet. Let them sweat a little. Over the next 2 weeks, the calls kept coming. Lydia, then Brendan, then both of them. Each message was slightly more desperate than the last. Finally, I called Lydia back. Dad, I'm so glad you called. Can we come over tonight? We have a proposal. Fine. 7 o'clock. They arrived right on time, Brendan carrying a folder full of papers. This time they sat on my couch like they owned the place. Dad, we've been thinking, Lydia began. Maybe the nursing home isn't the right fit, but this house really is too big for you. Brendan opened his folder. I've been doing some research. There are some beautiful senior apartment complexes in the area. 1-bedroom units, maintenance included, community activities. Much more appropriate for your lifestyle. He slid a brochure across my coffee table. Sunset Gardens Apartments, 55 and older community, very prestigious. I looked at the glossy photos. How much? That's the beautiful part, Brendan said, leaning forward. The monthly rent is only $1,200. Very reasonable for what you get. $1,200 a month? I kept my voice neutral. That's over $14,000 a year. But think about what you'd save on utilities, maintenance, property taxes, Lydia added. And you'd have neighbors, activities, security. Based on Columbus property tax rates, my annual property taxes were about $3,500 on a $300,000 home. Even with utilities and maintenance, I was spending maybe $6,000 total per year. Their deal would cost me more than double. Brendan pulled out more papers. Now, about this house. Lydia and I have been thinking, what if we took it off your hands? We'd handle all the paperwork, the closing costs, everything. You wouldn't have to worry about real estate agents or repairs or any of that hassle. What are you offering? Well, the market's tough right now, Brendan said, adopting his professional tone. Similar houses in this neighborhood are sitting on the market for months, and this place needs work. The electrical is probably outdated. The roof looks like it might need attention soon. I almost laughed. I'd rewired this entire house myself in 2021, and the roof was replaced in 2022. So we're thinking $200,000, he continued. Cash offer, quick closing. You could be in your new apartment by the end of April. $200,000. For a house worth $300,000 minimum in today's Columbus market. That's generous, I said calmly. Let me think about it. Lydia's face lit up. Really? You'll consider it? I said I'd think about it. Give me a few days. After they left, I called Jim immediately. They just offered me $200,000 for a $300,000 house, I told him. Elder financial abuse, Jim said without hesitation. Edward, they're trying to defraud you. This isn't just greed anymore. This is criminal. What do I do? First, call Detective Sarah Martinez at Columbus PD. I work with her on elder fraud cases. Second, I want you to agree to their offer. What? Agree to it, but tell them you need everything in writing first. Every promise, every detail. Once they put their fraud on paper, we'll have them. The next day, I called Lydia. I've thought about your offer. I'm interested, but I want everything documented properly. Dad, that's wonderful. Her excitement was almost pathetic. Brendan can draw up all the paperwork. No, I want my own lawyer to review everything first. Standard procedure. There was a pause. Of course, Dad. Whatever makes you comfortable. Good. And one more thing, Lydia. Yes? I assume I'm still invited to your wedding in June. Another pause, longer this time. Dad, about that, we've decided to keep it small. Just immediate family and close friends. I am immediate family. You know what I mean. It's going to be intimate. Just the people who've really supported our relationship. The message was clear. Support their theft of my house, or lose my place at my own daughter's wedding. I understand perfectly, I said. And I did. The game was almost over, and they had no idea they were about to lose everything. Detective Martinez was a no-nonsense woman in her 40s who'd seen every kind of family scam imaginable. When I showed up at her office with Jim, she listened to my story without interrupting. Mr. Morgan, "How long has your daughter been with this Brendan character?" she asked. 2 years, but the pressure to sell only started after they got engaged last Christmas. She nodded. Classic pattern. The boyfriend identifies the asset, your house, then manipulates the family member to help him get it. We see this all the time. She leaned forward. The nursing home brochure as a birthday gift is particularly cruel. Shows premeditation. "What do we do now?" Jim asked. "We let them hang themselves. Mr. Morgan, I want you to wear a wire to your next meeting with them. If they put their offer in writing and we get them on tape discussing the fraud, we'll have enough for charges." 3 days later, Brendan called. "Mr. Morgan, I've got all the paperwork ready. Can we come over tonight to go through everything?" "Perfect timing," I said. That evening, I sat in my living room with a recording device taped to my chest, feeling like I was in some cop show. But this was real, and these were people trying to steal my life's work. They arrived with a briefcase full of documents. Brendan spread them across my coffee table like he was conducting a board meeting. "Okay, Mr. Morgan, everything's here. Purchase agreement, closing documents, even a lease application for Sunset Gardens." He smiled that practiced smile. "I took the liberty of putting you on their waiting list." I picked up the purchase agreement. $200,000 for a house I knew was worth at least $300,000. This seems low for today's market. "Dad, you have to trust Brendan," Lydia interjected. "He knows real estate. The market's really soft right now, and this house needs a lot of work." "What kind of work?" Brendan pulled out his phone and started scrolling. "Well, I noticed the electrical panel in your basement is pretty old. Probably not up to current code. That's easily $40,000 in updates. And the kitchen hasn't been renovated since the 90s. Another $40,000 minimum. I'd installed that electrical panel myself in 2021, following every code requirement. The kitchen had been updated in 2020 after Margaret got sick. Plus, property taxes keep going up in this neighborhood," he continued. "Your annual taxes are what, $3,500? At Sunset Gardens, you won't have any property taxes to worry about. Just $1,200 a month in rent," I said, "which includes everything. Utilities, cable, internet maintenance. It's actually a bargain." I did the math quickly. 1,200 times 12 was $14,400 per year. 4 times my current property taxes, and nearly double my total housing costs. "This all looks good," I said, signing the papers. "When do we close?" "I've scheduled it for April 28th, Brendan said. "That gives you time to pack and get settled at Sunset Gardens. Your move-in date is May 10th. Lydia squeezed my hand. "Dad, you're making the right choice. You're going to love it there." "I'm sure I will. By the way, have you set a date for the wedding?" They exchanged a look. "June 7th, Lydia said quietly. "A month after I move. Perfect timing." "Dad, about the wedding," Lydia started. "Let me guess. Still not invited?" Brendan cleared his throat. "Mr. Morgan, we appreciate everything you're doing for us. But the wedding is really just for people who've been supportive of our relationship from the beginning." "And I haven't been supportive?" "You haven't exactly been welcoming to me," Brendan said, his mask slipping slightly. "Every time I come over, you act like I'm some kind of criminal." "Interesting choice of words," I said. After they left with the signed papers, I called Detective Martinez. "We got it all," I told her. "The fraudulent purchase price, the lies about needed repairs, everything." "Excellent. Now we wait for the closing. Once money changes hands, we can arrest them for elder fraud. But Edward, I have to warn you. Your daughter's going to face felony charges too." "I understand. But I also had one more card to play." The next morning I drove to Riverside Chapel, where Lydia and Brendan had booked their wedding. I'd done electrical work there 15 years ago and knew the manager, Carol Stevens. "Edward, how nice to see you," Carol said when I walked into her office. "I heard Lydia's getting married here next month. You must be so excited." "That's actually why I'm here, Carol. There's been some confusion about the guest list, and I wanted to make sure I wouldn't be turned away at the door." Carol looked puzzled. "Turned away? Edward, you're her father, of course you're invited. Could you check the list for me? I just want to make sure there wasn't a mistake." She pulled out a thick folder and flipped through several pages. Here it is. Morganstone wedding, June 7th. I don't see your name on the guest list. That's what I was afraid of. Edward, there must be some mistake. Let me call Lydia right now and sort this out. No, don't do that. There's no mistake. They deliberately didn't invite me. But Carol, I have a favor to ask. I explained the situation, not the fraud, just the family conflict and my daughter's decision to exclude me from her wedding. That's horrible, Carol said. Edward, this is still a house of God. If you want to attend your daughter's wedding, you have every right to be here. I don't want to cause a scene. You won't be causing anything. They will be if they try to remove a father from his daughter's wedding. She leaned across her desk. Edward, I've been managing weddings here for 20 years. I've seen every kind of family drama imaginable. But a daughter excluding her father? That's just wrong. So you'll let me in? I'll do better than that. I'll save you a seat in the front row where you belong. As I drove home, I felt a calm satisfaction I hadn't experienced in months. April 28th was still 2 weeks away. June 7th was 6 weeks away. They thought they were so clever, manipulating an old man out of his house and his place in his daughter's life. They had no idea what was coming. April 28th arrived faster than expected. I sat in the closing office at First National Title, watching Brendan and Lydia count their chickens before they hatched. The closing agent, Mrs. Henderson, spread the documents across the conference table. Mr. Morgan, this is a significant transaction, she said. Are you sure you understand what you're signing? I understand perfectly, I replied. Brendan couldn't hide his excitement as he signed document after document. Lydia kept glancing at me nervously, probably wondering why I seemed so calm about losing my house. The funds will be wired to your account by end of business today, Mrs. Henderson told me. Excellent, I said. I'll need that money for my legal fees. Legal fees? Lydia asked. Oh, yes. Did I forget to mention? Detective Martinez will be contacting you both shortly. The color drained from Brendan's face. What are you talking about? I stood up calmly. Elder fraud is a felony in Ohio. Conspiring to defraud someone out of their property through false claims and manipulation carries a sentence of up to 8 years in prison. Dad, what have you done? Lydia whispered. I documented everything. The recording from our last meeting was particularly interesting. All those lies about electrical problems and kitchen renovations. I looked directly at Brendan. $40,000 for electrical work I completed myself in 2021. $40,000 for a kitchen I renovated in 2020. Very creative. Brendan shot to his feet. You can't prove anything. Actually, I can. The Columbus Police Department has been building a case for weeks. Every conversation, every document, every fraudulent claim. I picked up my copy of the closing papers. This sale just provided the final evidence they needed. Mrs. Henderson looked confused. Should I stop the closing? No, let it proceed. They're going to need this house to pay for their legal defense. As I walked toward the door, Lydia grabbed my arm. Dad, please, we can work this out. The time for working things out was when you handed me that nursing home brochure for my birthday, or when you disinvited me from your wedding for not cooperating with your theft. We didn't mean to hurt you. Yes, you did. You calculated exactly how to hurt me most efficiently. I gently removed her hand from my arm. But don't worry, I'll still be at your wedding. June 7th was a perfect Saturday morning. I put on my best navy suit, the one Margaret always said made me look distinguished, and drove to Riverside Chapel. Carol Stevens met me at the door. Edward, you look wonderful. Your seat is right here in the front row where it should be. The chapel filled quickly. I recognized many faces, family friends, Lydia's co-workers, Brendan's real estate colleagues. They all seemed surprised to see me there. Brendan appeared at the altar in his rented tuxedo, looking nervous. When Lydia emerged in her white dress, she stopped cold when she saw me in the front row. The ceremony proceeded normally until Pastor Williams asked if anyone had a reason why these two should not be wed. Traditionally, this is a formality. Nobody ever speaks. I stood up. I do. The chapel erupted in whispers. Lydia's face went white. Brendan looked like he wanted to run. "Pastor Williams," I said in a clear, carrying voice, "I believe a marriage should be built on honesty and integrity. Unfortunately, this couple has demonstrated neither." "Dad, sit down," Lydia hissed. 3 months ago, my daughter gave me a nursing home brochure for my 68th birthday. Not because I needed care, but because she and her fiancé wanted to steal my house. The whispers grew louder. They offered me $200,000 for a property worth $300,000, claiming it needed $80,000 in repairs I had already completed myself. "That's enough," Brendan shouted. "When I wouldn't cooperate with their fraud, they disinvited me from this wedding. They told me it was only for people who had been supportive of their relationship." I looked around the chapel. "Apparently, not wanting to be robbed by your own child is unsupportive." Pastor Williams looked stunned. "Mr. Morgan, perhaps we should discuss this privately." "Oh, it's very public now, Pastor. You see, elder fraud is a serious crime. The Columbus Police Department has been investigating this case for 2 months. Both Brendan and my daughter are facing felony charges." Several guests pulled out their phones. Others started whispering more urgently. "The irony is beautiful," I continued. "They wanted my house so badly that they committed multiple felonies to get it. Now they'll need to sell it to pay for their legal defense." Brendan finally snapped. "You vindictive old bastard. We were trying to help you. Help me by lying about needed repairs, by manipulating me into an assisted living facility that costs 4 times my property taxes, by cutting me out of my own daughter's life unless I submitted to theft." I shook my head. "That's not help, son, that's elder abuse." Lydia was crying now, her makeup running down her cheeks. "Dad, please stop. You're ruining everything." "No, sweetheart. You ruined everything when you chose greed over family." I turned to address the entire chapel. "I raised my daughter to be honest, generous, and loving. Somewhere along the way, she forgot those lessons. Maybe prison will remind her." I walked toward the exit, then paused at the door. "For what it's worth, I hope you find happiness someday. Real happiness, built on something other than fraud and manipulation." The chapel was dead silent as I left. Detective Martinez arrested them both the following Monday. The local news picked up the story. Daughter and boyfriend charged in elder fraud scheme. Brendan's real estate license was suspended pending investigation. 6 months later, they both pled guilty to reduced charges. Lydia got 2 years probation and community service. Brendan got 18 months in minimum security prison. I bought my house back from them at the foreclosure auction for $170,000. Justice has a sense of irony. I still live here on Maple Street, still beat my neighbor at chess twice a week, still do my own electrical work. The difference is, I'm no longer waiting for phone calls from a daughter who saw me as a problem to be solved rather than a father to be loved. Sometimes the people who hurt us most are the ones we trusted most. But sometimes, if you're patient and strategic, the truth finds a way to surface. And when it does, it's more powerful than any revenge you could have planned. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and leave a comment letting me know what you thought. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to get alerts about new stories like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.